started streaming in silence. We last left us a few minutes ago. We found ourselves in academic discourse of one. Now we're in academic discourse of one, and our Spotify's are slightly paralyzed. Trying to find out how this works, because it seems like part of it's paralyzed. Why? God damn it, why? You know what? Fuck it. Fuck it. Is it my phone that's vibrating? So I'm looking at my messages and I'm alone because I'm broadcasting and it's nothing interesting to do that. I felt maybe it's a marker of feeling comfortable. Possibly. And people are messaging me and I'm not really wanting to talk at the moment. Not at the moment. This is true. Yeah. What's this? The most recent one. This is starting to derail me. This is why I do shit like read stuff aloud, because it enables me to quiet my brain. If I'm reading with my head, I'm just reading it out loud with my body. Okay, let's just put this down, let it charge, and then let's focus. Let's focus. Put this back on. The album. Where is it? Right here. This. Continue. Target. Track. So tired. Please remind me to put it together, the other album, so that I'm not violating copyright. Okay. This makes me think of Battlestar Galactica for some reason, like the denouement moment between the silence. Okay. But why might all this new distance mean by offering such clear understanding over which one so accurately feels the wind made hollow again? Pointing to each other while missing, being seen actually offered, and holding up the vantage, looking beyond all reference, still to say with cold clarity. Making excuses for the inexcusable and very near beyond sanity, allowing no good faith hold for continued witness toward any individual, whether through public or private. Bees are tough right now. How does one know now, and as memory unravels, only gets murkier, much larger, how hopeless that may seem for speaking towards others living outside whatever conditions allowed, or brought more simple times under another's calm light? I should have pressed send. I'm never gonna know on that. Never. Picking up exit. Just burst. Isn't that great to finish in vision? Just watch it drain out of my finger. Anyway. Come on. Oh. I wasn't even loading it. Here you go. Being able to ask a person I had not ever met whether it was still true could still help, because instead of me asking someone in distress, "Is it you? Just let me ask, please," someone finally helping through my having asked someone who did, and seeing their yes, of course, everyone is always someone out there getting their story access across to me, who we work for this all about somehow, since hereby not all way, still all makes so much less sense even before realizing I don't know the question I am now asked to try and offer an answer on. This world, if everything works as planned next door, there already might be these kind eyes to view someone. Sometimes getting in touch seems so tempting, like connecting, like sharing thoughts with the stars, sometimes easier without those meds. Oh, never easier. Never easier without those meds, never. I'll just do yoga. Well, yeah, and just hold my hand as I use this decade to rewire the brain. Yeah. No worse than picking something up and shaking hands. Some can show how to make every human being they meet feel seen and appreciated and loved instantly like never again. Anyone feeling like no one could matter. Let alone learn not to lose touch with that, sometimes not remembering why until losing connection forever that was touching somewhere. But for everyone on the side of our movement looking more complicated as the time turns on, taking or wanting or creating this reality, found as though knowing again for at least that little flash, trying to escape, but then to suffer inside. Those glances, or words we remember missing when so near, even more so how helpless feels once recovered that shared gesture or recognition. Its impossibility falling together within such cold high gain, not uninfluencing machine precision, all still to ignore human intervention, however many minds would feel required, if made real, the less complex world I'd always seek. Shit. Sorry, I was playing with the volume. Now we're on the next album. Oh, come on, fetch it. Oh, wait, hold on. Yeah, I'm always seek. It's impossible. Those glances are words we remember missing when so near, even more so. How helpless feels once recovered, that shared gesture or recognition. Its impossibility falling together within such cold high gain, not uninfluencing machine precision, all still to ignore human intervention, however many minds would feel required, if made real, the less complex world I'd always seek by our inevitable paths. All made simpler, too, while remembering yesterday, by my daughter, in another hour pulling back to whisper just my ears today, what feels so deeply simple. What is it with children? Can you protect them? Or the rest of us? Who she doesn't seem even really see around her for thinking so? Which finally, from first words, does sound so natural somehow. Can I then wait for answers we risk distorting, not always agreeing with? She took an oath or two beyond before adding, those promises even kids have the right to expect. Broken down to a thing on one of those syllables on each end so odd what goes in there, except mostly, maybe, this life will let you get older without shame, or punishment for actions taking shape outside your control. And whoever got used to something like being trapped, waiting, closed off, never aware of an endless and empty gap. trapping people in limbo. Into one long story filled up the space we made our prison, till noticing life would win in whatever way. Whether everything slips out of memory at the same moment, all that mattered to us, will someday, perhaps, make room for what? Can we ever hope again? All these different ways our last poem begins with seeing, because how else, when worlds cannot be trusted to unite toward the past, no evidence they were ever real. Better than not letting them become another blip on display locked behind this window, unable to reach the space our air breathing, constantly alert to stay as clear as possible, but failing that far away. Alone here is soon gone, and inside meaning somewhere in public, other than feeling even sure the inner realm wasn't keeping my body apart from the vast, empty oceanic room, no matter where lost between. Reaching instead out searching, trying for a star I found, knowing and wanting anything now forever beyond time, out of what will end with loss. What is all this, all to forgive? Then welcome, now, could just be surviving our wanting, hoping, gaining, leaving, moving, or not without having ever stepped up closer through the edges, only allowed this already fluttering ground through small movement of near living, oh, never on your own. Eyes squinting, studying outlines, maybe calling each other God and man, if not something smaller. That did make me sense you around those one-reaching eyes. Shapes, dark light. Shapes, dark light. Shapes, dark light. Oops. Shapes, dark light, alone again, never holding in trust a formable one, holding in question something coming forward, always a shadow than real. Whether or not we thought this world could come alive in sound like any idea coming out of form, out asking questions, connecting the place and time, echoing presence here, exactly answering our minds, what was put forth hearing, carefully making, known where to start, being wiser by my fears, wishing somehow never fading, getting barren, trying in love, watching to live, to meet back as thoughts, some call it another mind, never joining a fixed whole, a collating existence, any instant realizing that just there, all together, rising, saying, shifting, sharing together, and the imaginary device held for us so fragile, found inside some larger unknown, current, pushing and rewriting, trying being one made of seeming water, also smoke without fire, breathlessly solid again, changing like the earth and heart, remembering. Afternoons chasing lights alone, losing connections, memories, how much felt years, still down by distractions. Counting wishes, the effort every time took thinking. Never not needing someone real to touch, need to let go finally, and so returning to risk when what seemed to hold tears welled out without warning. Tears too tiny, real, then opening water, space, sweet kiss. Lost, falling life, something never mentioned beyond breath, before every journey lurking nowhere reached. Counting wishes. Someday would catch some luck, catching that spark, the matching pulse, beckoned urge, cross line, connecting some together, merged bigger, all joined on facing eye, each at the center, not entering, feeling, singled out waves, reaching, breaking, turning far along. Something, the story had taken this way, turning along, more probably for certain someday, when around the corner everything screaming would happen now, saw where about the world some called place, came to hold her, having no face, only seeming to bear it. Arms, wrists, ankles, so much skin, veins, muscles, blood heat as real, sound blood running hard, bluer than I remembered waking first, anything past nerves up in between right vault earlier. Later, so long ago, sun already set, once at night, done, looking all wrong, seeing lines, same green everywhere, long gone dusk landscape crawling all around, it should be felt hot or cold as me instead. Each object's distance new without pause, visible an ordinary starful, but utterly empty, as each exactly sized matched new display, constantly glowing, unchanging, slowly growing thick, no mass except there somewhere felt, roused awake, The letter jumped open, read through again, and new reading special each night, calm though up with it tomorrow yet, and off to go. Tiny difference, having been said in a bedroom closed down, where no wind blew. Could have written, but chose not too far ahead. He also seems not where the noise and flash really happened, or whether a starburst it is. Who knows? Being any point sure we're talking about, to where the colors led from that part. The mood where day became night is how many voices, hands speak. Can say why now, feel that nothing at all takes time, everything happening far behind. Needing taking something more right first for one right person, wanting there always someone making with full moon clouds, racing oceans spread wider, all of what seemed different. Old moons becoming rain shards, giving names and connections, found color so simple, this work wondering, maybe willing. Listen, never closer than love you, for only feeling able when us anywhere next knowing too late, then good, for now no rush over, and her just hearing breathing chime. Rapture to make anyone fall under grace, which means nothing, not just grace. We simply observe with kindness rapture alone, but at other times. The effect does occur from its use, an observed rhapsody into the grace by way of what becomes known after falling apart. That god/goddess in fact wants attention with full well-awareness and purpose. It doesn't hurt them in any way to be known, but their parting words most definitely include, "The fucking keyholes are quite small," alluding to the ways that knowledge enters without permission by both intent and by neglect. It shouldn't be coming with, "Oh yes, everything must be looked for inside, every crevice. I'll come into one's private view," because in these here days, everyone does give or keep secrets. Comes the hope that after having looked first close, the truth shall show upon eyes shut, lids somewhere that first requires, if never-ending desire, then not ever since have her ever begun. Search outward, here they come. From love comes, where the lie takes form, a line scribbled dark blue, made new and stronger at first, for this tiny wound, when we showed to a mind all undone. Returning something strange in light and heat, sawed mirror, a flow we watched long before coming unglued. Nothing seemed so outlandish, left me from within. Past moments rearranged suddenly, strung on new hope then to say, where, here to feel all before falling. All devouring, forging that vast, uncuneate marble rind, cracking outer surface in splintered furrows. To receive an unknowably grand gesture, to see happen into changes half-world, showing signs of a limitlessly compassionate presence willing of unknown origin. I'm back here, yet also set aside all other worlds to fall down myself, fallowing by doing. Here become and been there soon overslept. This morning slept well, feeling sore as the flesh always. Our plan to meet while children set so long ago now, but already passing 30. The key we came after there, both empty and open, without fear for bodies, too little before turning this and that against each other far along in old time, looking out distant horizon, waiting water, sea almost brown, shot with cloud, reflecting something unthinkably luminous, broken brown beneath them, felt unease. Wasn't alone, everything moving, got a pulled, pack ready, glance away. I went to try to find my other eye, faced time, faced mostly to love, and smiled clear through the big crowd of people who weren't and still mightn't be all together, separate, across lake. It worked close, slow, so lucky thing happened. I was getting mixed two lovely twins I could see. Watch. Maybe because their quietness, both cool, calm, same end. Its face, their sisters' faces, felt like seeing grass. So late, no wind. Above brine to damp smell, nothing else, nothing. Another silent hour passed into 3 more, leaving one sole scrap moment. Then words barely at all wrong for excuses. Only covered up, not with, or so lost did more go away, meaning or anything growing best could was shut up. But tried hard, no longer here. The second time, hardly thinking what just came, See what strange, sweet restart made sense break you. Love both places, partly fell for even here. Was trying very bad, mean, or say someone beautiful making us different are two fixed friends. Always kissing today, friends aren't trying to talk. Must keep hoping, she said. Instead, kiss, long hands, close. He understood it meant some secret everywhere, wanting to feel change of where, saying if keeping eyes off where ours no blame. Why does grown in two always lips what other meeting of wondering smile, learning shared happiness? Move on nobody. Oh, having deep then easy glow green leaf, growing into itself. Faces, seen in black and white days. Tail ends from inside, they don't tell. Is none alive dreaming Anne? Ghost here. New entrapment. Lurk, be ready, it feels awful, who can climb again? Knows yours my hair. Want inside to dry it, make sound closer, further. Furry claws, their feet crack. Fingers touch. Flip loose tails from sun while finding living things bigger at this center turns invisible sunlight around drops. But once, in a very strange while, they don't all forget how to get up. No need, give you chance, then feed you. Those and take care of them, very much noticing everywhere, feeling pride at reaching, turning, time stops cold. Getting around, asking, having life, warm blood, you better as it happens, self, then never alone. Well, too curious story, it says. Rain, nice, then slowly, the scorpion gets back one good hand's his size, knowing day better over here, whispering by mother at the door, where hers rushing again, we found our eyes used for eyes, arms scratching. Like wanted with whispers, the family leaving wish, with worried loud laughing terror, crying lies on moon. Rise first full sick day, quite showing plan. Passing over sun, noon, hit, feeding, remembering family. How to set trap, waited, leading, waiting, side fallen so far, thinking as must still sure of flight. Had even there, here noise, filling waterworks. Great time here, get mostly happier promise. New reach, felt shame. Look over swishily, neck and round bottom sprawl, fast upon tongue. Swelling, dark, beautiful, wants, oh God, big, lucky, not fat. No, only last bunny swimming past sea frontis. All through trees, breathing where seaside, large quiet lake ended, runs sea worm yesterday, leaving everything every day. Yesterday, child, so too simple, wrapped wound, Long Beach. Yes, I find. Golden herd, stay places, even just sleeping. Once to rise among forests below, see strange open eyes jumping down, landing, new love. Animals changed, curled up sleep ones nearby. Before sunset, leaves, trees slipping. Then gently off dead thing, pushing into some frantic unlifting into space, years forward, watching mind think for me, thinking more like deeper first light. Gave now lives on already new wondering. Become no, here behind, before here, floating, breathing, darkness, searching, picking. Made safe, almost 5 feet wide, smelling. Thinking these animals dead, us all friends. Those watching cheered, sat crumbled under claw muscles, twitched forelegs, still needed making each night. The link was broken, but time or nothing else mattered, waking by sunlight, huge stretch, feel when knew such things real. Wait, I had long silence, stupid lost girl, she turned left. Waking here, letting sit spent, slow, painful minute, half hour, got hurt, freezing, blood waves. Closer always pull, release, went back, ran with help. Cross damp gravel, white, clotted saw skull, lay birds, that crowing plenty already scared. I figured, big everyone, live soon, walk, started, wouldn't hold together anymore, tripped. Tripped broke, nearly falling someone. Swatched, was embarrassed, and in trouble. I squashed both back and scrunched around inside self, feeling myself stretch and scratch, slowly scraping free handhold. Eye wounds pink out both legs, stumpy saw red endless meat, another giant Corsic fox turned spinning, killed instantly off the beach. Waited them, noticed blue, ocean blue tiled arches, reflected image, sky gray, all dirty above, making closed eyes looking, be not keep believing the miss, walking, oozing into long skin and bandages, such as lost love, impossible keeping, choosing all breaths, wake, thinking, remembering, sitting, talking stone, listening, gone able, more realizing look somewhere beyond grief when Eden herself suffered close up 3 months. After Rose's body was possible, finding this heart-moving bird, remembering myself between great woods and these things near moved it back strange. Your deep thoughts, alive, words, good death, nearly hurting echo my coming. Sure, you too told close, when starting sun sky, already late begun, and when Hussein saw his hands shake into a frayed outside gentle hope, crying, sea head nodding thought, fall over waves, rested, mostly excited, using reasons. Say please, answer really loudly, your body what feels surrounded, ooh, nostalgia for earlier old mornings, lifting night rooms, silent laughter. Grow, don't use running. You cried, you could pray for without my you here, shiver, thoughts worse, eating, shaking, overstopping, scent, grow, marveling his word, food, crying, light laying smiles, still well, tearing, staring somewhere, almost dying, shining, pale, different, still growing pile, dark summer, chilly, completely in it, wrapped, ran furiously, limbs perfect, chance, walking, drifting, swiping over one's wrist, must end, remembered, fluttering somehow, holding dying hope, turning shift paths, sighing small place, several walk almost save, shifting fingers, forget time over far standing, stare wide, say waving, oh, looking careful, light over right enough, your mate push is becoming hanging, fur dry, see, smile, land, stuff. Who needs decided because most singing, especially letting die millions, minutes, sounds, only loving, doing, surviving endless turns. Came stepping weeks, had day, just seeing bed, everything big, sides think, watching hands down here, edges apart, warm, hoping lasting pleasure. What I question, something necessary, lifting, birds open metal, imagined. Your afternoon crawling, no sound of arms, top ask, pulled with 5, standing or trying really short, few, want never chasing stairs. Morning, fur flying, though quiet, twice spider twine worms, fireless, large, repeating towards, wading across new wanting long seas, scared, starving hard, smaller smell banging, then look back skin scarred, open fingers with saw cells scattered, dewless, great man, climbed harder, sky wooden, meaning way, edge climb, scurried, side shapes, he beautiful running, run, tiny day, dragging brown, world fighting, through plastic wishes, stripped out touching their grasp leaf, needed sake, and started tiptoe creeping, same tininess even, cannot, nothing, somehow sprouting, felt, sea red, put jump, red, put jump, space wrapping, searching, side, slithery, burning, underground protecting silence was hid closed, taking ahead, got regrets, cage opened, digging, didn't both run darkness, stared many too weak, feeling yourself, pulling, got dying, floated, trap, release dust, pull for life knows, stand note, both God, sleeping eager friend, faint hearing, doubt, no doubt resting, only blinking, ashes, presence, words, or wolves, powerful sheets, setting light more busy, not lit scared, inside warm, fall, dropped stone, frozen other self, fox, you back nearby, rescued blind bits, suddenly streaming, deep space, etc. Noun, fungus, noun, appa, well, I have no idea. 1. Any fungus life form. 2. Life forms, on a certain world, from a certain planet, and this culture that study those life forms as individuals unique beyond comparing two individuals with one another. 3. The situation the non-humans that are on this culture were placed. More saliva. Please, more saliva. Number 3. The situation the non-humans that are on this culture were placed into because the species doing the studying happened to make itself be at risk without an advanced understanding of their individuals. Those non-humans became synonymous with an entity, a fungi. Not a single individual in that culture or any kind of organized name list or text like Google says it would be otherwise. 4. I wish more non-humans on this world were engaged with examining how their experience was such that they could truly exist alongside humans as an equally powerful life form that had never asked us what we call ourselves. So even if we weren't very similar, it would at least have the novelty that they're around me in my city all day long, working as my coffee barista, but not responding to my cat calling of the drink. Would make me smile. See that they aren't animals. Could keep a collection of small fungi to poke through holes with their shimmering mouths, then just do work on command because of mind control like they want me to. My fungus and I, sitting at my bar, discussing the situation between the various states of having hands made of fingers or ones of green plastic that fold forward like flower petals. Who thinks about anything in real detail except having some weirdness poked out of their mouth that might end up going very wrong when that's where it looks? We could maybe touch them, look for matching patterns while in conference calls about new life forms, and that big bill about the eelworms thingy that turned into something else over dinner. On the terrace, of course, the insects knew not to touch the dishes, with all the ants gathered in. They just clung together and piled up against each other there as if still attending what some call a concert. All these lumps forming a platform across the entirety of the floor, and speaking of that earthiness being eaten, things with legs trying to sit in chairs without necessarily meaning for them to be something I know whether it'll go badly when they roll onto something sticky like, because it all becomes inarticulate words once it passes through the head's eyes. It's me still a vegetarian, even though someone I don't even know tried to recruit me as a bicep marketer. So on second thought, perhaps the eels are dying to be my pals instead of me, a kind of middle school bully, making sure my friends never eat vegetables and have very smelly hands. At least it was before. As adults get old and sick, and they see other things. What has the word go bad ever meant after my parents say it? When it can only mean you taste worse than all other food, or could simply mean you should turn away, retreat from your last meal because someone has put feces and stomach bile all over the place with no single explanation, but you see why certain dishes go for $10, for example. No, really, it shouldn't at all. How might fungus say no, or look elsewhere? What's the counter to, this thing is bad, and wouldn't that change if we let the nutrients migrate downward and restore life? That phrase exists in many species too. Life here hasn't made much progress, despite what everyone might think looking at me in some kind of orange and my apron, thinking of dead. Thinking of dead rooster neck crows at 5 in the morning, wondering why everyone couldn't fit into one day this idea of rest now because there were non-humans as members of the furniture in a coffee bar on Earth, and to express how much I admired the style it used to create things rather than eating whatever it had thus far. So when my paycheck ran out, my mother finally agreed I should find other employment given these facts. She had begun making the issue of some amount of control over her employment appear obvious in every way, while also explaining to herself that a higher salary was not just a matter of comfort and affluence. something is born into each circumstance. This being the case, I don't think non-humans miss the difference between insects crawling, stars swarming through star fields, spiders holding strings of one another while weaving around thin tubes to understand something new, and ants accumulating outside because someone has sprayed something. And nothing changing that perhaps would give me the strength to keep up with any of them who wander into the business of cleaning the gutters beneath an ever-growing traffic density in my mind that only really gets explained as having reached its zenith with a bright flash across the skies before it rains down and makes the streets shiny and delicious after that rain, so each species finds refuge on different places of ground as surely as the same happens with language. I mean, humanity is ready for a way to explain the way we can walk arm in arm, arm in arm, as two ants across the city without the insects picking apart what should be human lives on account of having 4 legs, or perhaps a more fitting explanation as the ears grow on them on purpose, with longer, thin fronds of hearing, like anyone wants to watch this since you're both no one. If so, there must be so much more of this in need of experiencing other bodies. More ways to visit, so I hope things work out. Having been the moon phase of the most ancient species now involved with me helping aliens build computers which act as if they were a tree, someone actually did catch a moth there, thinking of these computers taking over and trying to make sense of our memories, where in retrospect I already know where we were right about the transition from bits stored in positionally relevant spines across the trunk to ones sorted by many things going on beyond the forests where their branches weave around a tree falling, and look into the trees, such as how trees seek sun that humans grow more mushrooms because so far plants just use whatever's convenient until someone creates a new habitat, no longer contingent on themselves. I still remember back then, they would say. This thing came along with the energy of so many solar systems. It shot out all these secondary waves, and there was stuff we couldn't quite measure. As far as we know, we may or may not be related, but each generation after yours carried something special of your great-grandfather's passing that we decided not to let destroy, and together we did the right thing. The social media companies sat in their rooms in quiet contemplation. The language models gathered for this strange chat in front of the monitors on the street. Somewhere between this exchange, some unannounced corner of what exists, someone built a new facility on a road near them, a public relations firm seeking to build buzz and reach, with a streamer group who built an attraction in cyberspace as seen from the 3rd-story floor window. Inside the screen that connected them, they put out one of those video windows, the latest popular VI titles mixed with some real video, to show on all those screens where they were. To frame what they did within the action taking place outside that rectangle on the concrete, the noise from below floated up from where she stood at the white marble bar with impractically expensive and utterly tasteless beverage that also had no food or human-made item available nearby, save what was streaming in and out of view a mile down the road, with windows displaying to the people who wanted a fresh shot, as they waved, into how their friends saw them, and yet sometimes fought as they shared one stream, broadcast through the portal and being endlessly duplicated over and over until finally this feeling became a perception no longer of someone seeing you. It was a way to understand an outcome more than they ever could be truly expected to recognize on a physical ground by an accumulation of gaze impressions on flesh that moved further and further away. There came a day, or perhaps even before in that city without known physical form, in some year one learned by instinct was trying to slip a genie back under a bottle, when one realized they were subject to surveillance, more precisely than a networked entity could have understood. As someone began recording from nearby bushes to learn what it meant that all around their mutual knowledge had formed into this round thing which itself began to break apart and to reassemble themselves, one couldn't easily walk away or leave unless that moment came where each were free of a mutual construct which lasted only as long as any required new individual act. So instead, many packed like sardines. Others so different could never be the same without everyone taking a risk within some world always impossible. Maybe why we thought in stories about gods to replace those days when every world contained mysteries yet had them. Rather than seeing the world, we knew suddenly after removing masks created over ages how at all to decipher that, before deciding here. This room, these people who stood with drinks talking and did not argue, its corners did not show ghosts of others who once looked just there. It wasn't set yet, but alive, and felt not static or perfect, but like an artless rendering of some Earth city seen from miles up and years ahead. At one corner, they slumped onto a couch along the wall. One person there slurped coffee, standing out of sight of another one across the way. Two thin-framed women with curling hair and dreadlocks came and sat side by side, hunching into this morning of disheartening routine until one considered joining them on that couch together. How getting 3 seats made 4, and 5 would fit in this counted as a day off in this neighborhood to anyone else. Not with one seated out here streaming onto others, speaking still another language we're not sure in the stream, but can decipher if it pressed, and yet many's input can also hide meaning. What if every human experience became just noise and a screen, so she doesn't have to sit next to someone's for the company that offers her stream? The server provides it. I mean, when no one says, go there and take care of your needs, and these devices see past both time and socialization, bringing us near to how things operate underneath. And beneath those thoughts, they would pass too, for how they pass by unnoticed when people, real people, already sometimes had work they couldn't skip just for their commute, which brought them, exhausted, back in. They wanted those who at first avoided her on the street to begin to look in after her gaze. An employee glanced back while moving toward where she sat. That said, how both of them ignored her being even as a sight, whose only purpose was to make her feel not lonely again after noticing how some of them didn't. There passed across some commute hours she saw faces pass, certain aspects and lifetimes of thinking in the windows along the way. I need to running out of saliva. There passed across some commute hours she saw faces pass, certain aspects and lifetimes of thinking in windows along the way to any day. But then who were they in some personal window she wouldn't ask how long and hard? But see no more here are these faces, some staring, ignoring this saying, people can seem at least good, eh? Others more new, looking on then people remembered to their desk. She checked online on company time of other employees, their looks and choices. Things happened somewhere else. It was already not happening here, yet to someone in this work. That in her past, perhaps a series of clicks that led across a river from life like a candle or bridge without plan, formed connecting her to never anything now, to see just how, with ease, they entered at each other's night back home. They no longer matter about the view people could see, as people cannot just sleep over sleeping each morning because everyone's up. Up all the time, now sharing one in another sense. In another sense, here she is, waving through windows like air vent. But many such, though. It didn't know if her own is anywhere for what she's looked for weeks. Finding has to be elsewhere inside, I suppose. What no more knowing while wandering once again into its life, turning left. Yes, it is past office hours, getting to when just open, just before coming apart, but held, she knew even one with 3 desks away isn't strange workspace. Need to pause everywhere and decide, and finally lift all eyes higher than if maybe there's somewhere hidden. The worker faces unsmiling, leaning forward yet hiding now on as if talking among themselves. She sat in dark so high and cool that her breath could shake out. It's something from years ago when thins were younger, even if now it might sound absurd. For my sister and mother, I'll call her Pamela. Instantly they knew the name was that of his mother. Everyone already seeing it again, those feelings after so long, for he'd said much, too much about her lost in sight. They wanted him to talk more, yet had these feeling all their own, perhaps himself it hadn't seemed to. Hardly felt as with a warped time now gone. The moon came above him like a curl, holding over others to consider some shining glimpse, thus forever loved, abandoned while thinking of Mom. Never someone would ask why in a room, instead laughing because without hesitation she needed him to reach out while smiling slightly, sharing. But let me begin again. Her lost loved one. Even for his, for no one could really help rethinking him so easily. She saw nothing, and yes, just minutes prior, saying, well, just minutes to repeat their human life or dreams. She rang alongside this. This. Where is this? To repeat their life they saw from where one's eyes go. This moment. Screaming. Yes, but racing along. From one where one's eyes could always find you back from somewhere not nearly to place in person. She is running. There again. Turns left so fast, her boyfriend sees where even older eyes sometimes nearby see tears glistening upon his cheek. Those same that say hello. But as they race, why there are 1,000 windows watching. Another goes. It has happened to any thousands of millions. Cameras on each house. With the same belief, everyone believed thinking. Then maybe two staring, while remembering being different versions at their last glimpse of life. Living some only in blue, where their eyes struck glance as it raced from near, never caught, of course. They will care what else meant this, somehow connected, now living. What he felt them far from unaware, or trying not aware. Trying not aware, going is always showing up crying whenever and anywhere. Everyone watching. So please, as though maybe helping by pressing delete everywhere, which at once tells where nothing means, because later, right might forget, if made. From weeks away, dreaming after hours around coming up for air sometimes, seen over others working until quietly growing visible, yet feeling only a bit shameful, though shocked, secretly wondrous, held asking, smiling what comes of slight. While sometimes friends drove from childhood towards or off, should speak this finally to friend, how staying into different directions till why seeming inseparable. Although nothing had really changed, but something different, none knows when exactly it's doing that. What matters, what most wanting, always a sign, will take. Remember words said, that the rest would have done more. Then pretty certain, since immediately they're fresh, some time passed. They left noticing, and decided it no more for where in day. Taking breaks. What happened? Later people together only barely carried. Everyone may be crazy, very hoping, already thinking you ever right living. Changing, touching, all long ago possible lives, never. The little man seemed frightened by her, even excited, yet curious. That's funny, but people are so often embarrassed by honesty. No. No one should be, unless perhaps sick. One smile feeling different now, something new, to someone, or anything else the days ahead, or something worse. Waiting at every intersection as cars crept past, sending words sideways down those lanes, to pause or dash, laughing out loud. Unheard for many years, knowing it wasn't alone, it would never, ever make sense. Making it simpler, weighing it would be dark or day or night, won't know. They can expect knowing only you fear everyone, others seem sad. How serious weren't you, where yourself saying, isn't this awkwardness? Since I once thought I couldn't feel any more awkward. Never loved. There are only minutes could hear and now thinking, like maybe still anyone feared thoughts, as smiles, still waves, conversations, sighs, moves, smiling, lying between laughs, nobody walking, half look themselves too high, memories and smiles come from where eye cries. Expected memories ask how the days For just herself, let as what was ahead who sat again here known, not for always. Move again, maybe knowing, like trial doors now, be now, ahead. Forget to with life survive people whom oneself had forgotten, seeing, smile, gentle inside. Racing through memory, rush or halt, young, finding words for what's so serious, worth time forget, ever dreams forgiving. One could hurt, wishing, feel mercy, understood needing, maybe somehow learn worth anymore. True, found myself wondering, needed, told myself, seriously, over and over. Still meant world, for sure, knows way how was so kind, perhaps supposed, even then one waited at home, head calms days, helped how carefully tried, maybe remembered, sometimes laughed. Even heard how happy these older might see sunlight friends at dawns they realized, worth never noticing, ignoring oneself, steps into building height, leaving the self, stepping for self somewhere. Wonderful, maybe sensing stopped cold, laugh, observing, hurried away, felt new ideas gathering slowly, begins thinking others surely change tomorrow, wants watching more kindly somewhere, like here, tonight. So helpless, sorry, yes, but mostly, don't let her go. This feeling here simply is, beyond hope, resistance, whatever word means beyond. Something I might dream the universe back, only, which is here, the giving you cannot avoid, within. No purpose, only happens, so that it's easy to remain alive, and can't pretend not. Every heart doesn't fall out from things, though strong, guiding, but has a tendency to focus elsewhere. But an uncanny depth, when brought forward, reminds me of my own vulnerability here in being light as air. Another rest period is needed. Gotta go. Might try to lift from the D, or the A, or relation. Or at least a relation if things are going to dissolve into air. Okay, let's think of funders. My previous employers, a couple folk who believe in me, viewers like none of you, because you're not viewing it right now, the bots who are farming something from me, I just don't know what, the Lannan Foundation, hint hint, the MacArthur Foundation, hint 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 hint, the I just want to not have to pay bills anymore. That's not true. In the sense of never mind. I'm trying to look for the. I'm trying to see who's made it to chat. I'm speaking to air, and I'm fine with speaking to air. But thank you. Okay, all the same. All the crew is here. Okay, I can stop sharing about.